Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Wooden Railway Adventures, Episode 232, Painting the Rosies Red. Rosie had been feeling down lately. "Every day it's the same old thing," she grumbled. "I wake up, I go to the yard, I shunt some trucks, I might pull a coach or two, I'll definitely pull a freight train or two, and then it's off to bed. Next day, same thing. Next week, same thing. Next year—" "Oh, do be quiet," grumbled Gordon. "You're not the only one who has to do the same jobs over and over again. Stop complaining." "That's the thing, though. You get to pull the express. Thomas and Edward have their own branch lines. Duck and Oliver get the Little Western. What do I get?" "A shed door shut in your face if you keep at it," murmured James. No, Rosie's got a point. It can be very tedious to do the same thing over and over again. "And that's why you have to enjoy the little things," proclaimed Henry. "Every day after I get done pulling my trains, I take a nice slow puff through my forest and look at all the different trees. It really puts things into perspective." But Rosie was still unhappy. "What I need is a radical change. It's time to spice things up and leave the old Rosie behind. And what better way to do that than with a new coat of paint?" "That sounds like a good idea," came a voice. Rosie looked over. It was old Slowcoach. "Oh, hi there. Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud. Things have been rather stale lately, and I feel like a big transformation is due. What do you think?" "A new coat of paint can go a long ways," she replied. "When I was saved from scrap and got repainted, it completely changed everything about me. I went from a load of rubbish to a workman's house and then some. To this day, it was one of the best things that's ever happened to me." Rosie smiled. "Then that settles it. I am going to get a new coat of paint." But the other engines in the yard weren't so convinced. "Ooh, watch out," chuckled Stafford. "Rosie's going to march into the Steamworks and ask Victor for a can of lilac paint instead of lavender. Big difference, you know." Philip chuckled. "Thanks for the heads up, Rosie. We wouldn't want to mistake you for all of the other pink engines on the railway." Rosie rolled her eyes. "Just you wait and see," she said. "This change will be a big one, trust me." Later that day, Rosie arrived at the Steamworks. "Hello, Victor. I was wondering—" "Whoa, it's quite the madhouse in here." Yes. Sorry for the confusion. We are quite busy at the moment. What can I help you with?" "Yes, well, I know that I would like a new coat of paint." Victor looked around. That's it? You just want a repaint?" "Yes, simple enough, right? Maybe throw in a few minor changes here and there to appease Stafford and Philip." "Yes, right. I suppose I could spare a workman or two to repaint you. We'll touch up your lining, polish your whistle, all of the usual things." "Hey!" shouted Vinny. "This better not be taken away from my repairs." "No, of course not, Vinny. We are working with the utmost haste to get you out of here. Trust me, we don't want to keep you around longer than we have to." Rosie was excited. "Yes, perfect! This sounds amazing. When I puff out of here in a few hours, I am going to feel like a completely new engine." But when Rosie returned to the yard, the reception was not what she was expecting. "So, what do you think? Pretty radical, right?" The engines looked at one another. Did you already go to the Steamworks?" "Yes. Can't you see a difference?" "No, not really. You look just the same as before, although there is something a little bit different about you." "Yeah, but I can't quite pinpoint what it is. Still, you look like the same old Rosie to me." Rosie sighed. "Old Slowcoach, what do you think?" "It's a start, dear, but I think you need to go bigger and bolder. You don't feel any different, do you?" "Not really," she admitted. "Well, that was a bust. I guess I better get back to work." Nonsense, said Philip. We'll cover the trains while you go back and try something different. Really? Aw, that's so nice of you guys. We can see that this means a lot to you, said Stanley. Keep at it until you're happy with the end result. Rosie smiled and puffed back to the Steamworks. Victor was quite surprised to see her again. Ah, back so soon? Is something wrong? No, not really. It's just, I think I want to try something a little bit different, Victor. Say no more. I have the perfect idea in mind. Boys, let's begin again. And Victor's crew went right to work. How about this, everybody? It probably doesn't seem like a lot, but I think we're making great progress. The engines were still skeptical. Again, it doesn't seem like you've changed a whole lot. What about the bigger and bolder elements old Slowcoach was talking about? Yes, I suppose the next step would be something bold. Do you think it's time for me to change my paint color? Maybe that's what's holding me back. I think that's a wonderful idea, cried Philip. Pink is great and all, but let's see something really crazy. Rosie explained the situation to Victor. Really crazy, huh? Well, I do have something crazy in mind. It's a bit of a different take on what engines should look like, but trust me, it's what everybody wants to see. And I am partial to the paint color, what little of it there is. Rosie smiled. Let's give it a shot then. Upon her return to the yard, however... Oh no, cried Stafford. Victor's gone mad this time. Where's the rest of your paint? Why didn't they finish the job? It is finished. I know it's a little different, but you have to admit that there is a certain warmth to this design. It's unfinished is what it is, said old Slowcoach. Fill in the details and we might have a contender. Rosie ran back to the Steamworks and returned a short while later. Better, murmured the engines, but there are still a few things missing. The color is right, but I feel like the overall design could be improved. Rosie was growing weary. I don't know if I can take another redesign, and my wheels hurt from running back and forth all day. Victor was also very tired. Back again? This is the 4th or 5th time you've been here today. I've never devoted as much time or workmen to a project as I have on you. I don't know what else I can improve upon. Give me everything you got, Victor. We're so close. Just a little bit more to put it over the edge. Okay, but this is it. It's about closing time, and tomorrow we must turn our attention back to other projects, such as Vinny here. I can't believe you schmucks have left me sitting here while this redhead gets all the attention. Rosie was nervous. One last chance to get it right, she whispered. Back at the yard, it was nearly dark, but the anticipation was building. Word had spread about Rosie's transformations throughout the day, and the engines were excited. I see some smoke, gasped Billy. Here she comes. Rosie puffed in and came to a stop. So, she asked, what do you think? At first, nobody said anything. Then, it's incredible! You look amazing! That's it, that's the winner right there. Well done, Rosie. You're fabulous. Rosie blushed as the engines continued to rave. Even Gordon was impressed. Well, maybe it's time I got a new coat of paint. You know, when I was young and green... Sorry, green is taken, chuckled Henry. You were blue once, remember that. I'm pretty sure we were all blue at one point. Not me. I would never give up my red paint. Oh, James, this isn't about you. And the engines went on and on. Rosie looked around and smiled. It had taken all day and several attempts, but thanks to the support of her friends, she was finally looking the way she wanted to. Who knew a little paint could do so much? She giggled quietly.